What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Bryant Bulldog Sports Hour on 990 WBOB, the number one radio program for all things Bryant athletics. I'm Brian Costa, joining you alongside by Matthew Carvalho in the Sprout Co-working Studios. Matt, how you doing tonight?
Oh, I am doing great, Brian. It's great to talk to you tonight with plenty of great news of the Bryant Bulldogs.
Absolutely, Matt. We got a ton to talk about tonight. Just coming up in a few minutes, we'll be joined alongside by Bryant women's head volleyball coach Theresa Garlacy to preview the program's 50th anniversary weekend with matches against UNH and UMBC. And then, as always, at 8:30, we'll be joined alongside by head football coach Chris Merritt. We'll break down last weekend's game against URI and preview the family and friends matchup against Monmouth this Saturday. And then finally on the show, we're going to have a new guest joining us. We'll have head cross country coach Maggie Fox joining us to preview the team's upcoming meet at the America East Championships. It's going to be a great episode, Matt. Can't wait to have those guests on. But we have a ton to get into on the show tonight. Before we get to those guests tonight, we had some pretty eventful things going on in the world of Bryant athletics, obviously. By the time this show will be coming to you next week, we're going to be having both Bryant men's and women's basketball tipping off on opening night. That's going to be exciting. And then, it's also going to be just a great episode as well with us talking about the Bryant men's soccer team. Unfortunately, they ended up falling this past weekend to the University of Vermont. Bryant was ranked 2, Vermont was ranked 7 in the game, and they ended up falling by a score of 2-1. Matt, we'll open it up there. Just kind of give me your opening thoughts on the game. It was a record night in Smithfield. You had, over 5,000 people attend the game. It's a Rhode Island college record for soccer. But Bryant obviously ended up falling short in the game. Just, give me your opening thoughts.
Yeah, of course, Brian. I will certainly do that. I do want to first say you did mention the show next week. Brian, how many hours is that show going to be?
Matt, we're going to have a 2-hour episode next week. We're going to have a 2-hour episode because we're going to be having interviews with both the men's and women's basketball coaches. Lynn Ann Kokoski will join us immediately following her game against CCSU, and then men's basketball coach Jamie and Christian will be in line to join us once his team wraps up at Siena. So we're going to have, the first reactions from the coaches following both games on Monday night, on opening night. And we want that to be a really special episode for you guys. It's going to be a really exciting time. So I'm really looking forward to it, getting the chance to, talk with them post-game. And, we'll actually get, opening thoughts following the first game of the Jamie and Christian era here in Smithfield.
That's true. Definitely exciting stuff. But as for Bryant men's soccer, Brian, I will have to say, disappointing result over the weekend, but a valiant effort by the Bulldogs against Vermont in the loss 2-1. But it was a good effort by the Bulldogs to be able to compete strong against that Vermont team. But what I think is definitely a big story here is just the fact that the Byrne Stadium was packed, absolutely sold out for that game, filled to the rim with people excited to watch Bryant soccer.
Yeah, I mean, Matt, it's incredible to see the overall result and the turnout for that. I mean, I have the numbers right here. 5,430 people showed up for this game. And, Byrne Stadium was hopping. And, to their credit, Bryant men's soccer has deserved that kind of a crowd. And when you had Vermont, who were the defending national champions, coming into your building, it demands that kind of a crowd when you have 2 top 10 ranked teams going at it. Obviously, Vermont ended up getting the edge in the game, but, Bryant is, a, top tier program in the nation this year. They have proven their worth. And obviously, this game didn't go their way, but, hopefully this can be the type of thing that maybe is the best case scenario for them going forward, where it's almost kind of a wake-up call. Because, when you look at Bryant, they were having the nation's longest win streak. They hadn't lost a game all year. The really only kind of adversity that they had faced up till that season, at least, in terms of their record, was that tie they had to Long Island in the opener. But ever since then, they've been, absolutely on fire. This week they had the 0-0 tie against Princeton, and then they fell to Vermont at home. And, that can almost be kind of a wake-up call for you, because I think that, there were some things that Coach Rubin had been preaching to where, they didn't want to just be settling for, 1-goal victories. They wanted to be able to build out to multiple leads and, multiple goal leads, and really emphasize that. And, that wasn't able to happen these past couple games. And when you have a week like that where you're really battle-tested, it gives you a chance to reset and really regroup before you go into the postseason, which is soon approaching for them. And I think that this has, while it's a tough result and is going to result in them probably dropping in the, United Soccer Coaches rankings and may affect some of their at-large bids and things like that. I think that this could bode well for them going into the postseason because of, just it being enough of a reality check. And, those guys in there, they take each game, seriously. They're, not taking anything off. But when you're on that kind of a run, it really weighs on you. And, it's just the pressure is mounting every single week. It's like, well, you need to beat the next opponent. And it just keeps on building. When you have a game like that, obviously, the loss is going to sting a little bit. But when you have that, it gives you the chance to, refocus, reset, and attack the rest of the season. And I think that that's the best case scenario for this team going forward. I don't know about you, Matt, but that's my opening thoughts.
No, exactly. And it's not like it's one of those losses where now the season's over. I mean, they're still very much in contention. There's still a top 10 team, et cetera, et cetera. But, I know it's a cliche and you hear it all the time from coaches and, from analysts, but it's true that, how many undefeated teams do you really see? I mean, across sports, like how many last the test of time and win the championship? I mean, if you want to go local, we could cross sports. We could look at 17-0. And where did that go? You lose to the Giants on a helmet catch.
Sure.
You got to learn how to lose, and you have to experience that because that gives you that motivation. Now, I know in an idealistic situation, you'd love to go undefeated, win the whole thing, not a single loss, and sing kumbaya. But it's not always going to work that way. And when you suffer a big defeat like this to a powerhouse, it's going to give you that motivation to not lose again when these two teams meet once again in that America East Championship.
Yeah, and I think that when you look at how this team is going, it's going that way. I mean, like these teams are poised for that kind of a run, but you can't take any of these teams lightly. New Hampshire's always been, a perennial contender. They've been, a top 10 team in the nation before, pretty recently. And, while maybe they have new faces and new characters there, they are always a very well-run program, and they're going to have to face them before the end of this season. So, when you end up losing a game like that, yeah, it's a wake-up call, but I think when you maybe look at a New Hampshire game down the line, that has them maybe a little bit more, focused and really kind of, keyed in on, performing well in those games. Whereas maybe if they had gone out and they beat Vermont and, things would be soaring high right now and people would be looking up, maybe that's a game that gets away from you because you kind of slip up and it's like, all right, we already slayed the dragon. We already took care of business. We don't need to worry about anything else. And then, a game like that bites you. And that's something you need to always look at. And that's an opportunity for them now to really regroup here and, go out the rest of this season. So I'm looking forward to that, Matt. Really looking forward to them, finishing off the season strong. But, Matt, as we did say, the next week's show is going to be a special one. It's going to be a 2-hour marathon. We're going to have, both Jamie and Christian and Lennon Kokoski on the show. It's going to be a fun one with, Coach Jamie, and he's going back to one of his old stomping grounds at Siena. And he's going to look to try to, pull out a win there to open the season. And then, Coach Kokoski, they're opening the season with CCSU and trying to start off on a good note there. So I'm really looking forward to both of those interviews. Obviously, while everyone is focusing on, men's basketball and what's going to be the next future steps for them and, obviously, what's going to be the path for Coach Christian here, I think that there is a lot of, and there should be some emphasis as well on women's basketball with, Coach Kokoski. She's bringing back a large amount of veterans to this group. And, even at the transfer she's brought in, it's a really interesting team. And, when you look at maybe the group from last year on the men's side, where they brought it back a lot of veteran players and had some, very strategic transfer moves, it's kind of similar on that side. You bring in Abby Lindsay, you bring in Rose Nelson, and now you have a team that can really make a run in the America East. And obviously Vermont and Albany are going to be favored because they made it to that championship game last year. But I don't see any reason why Bryant can't take that noticeable step and make that run this year. I think that they really have a chance to do it. And when you see that development that they've made, it's going to be really exciting.
Absolutely. Definitely exciting stuff on both sides of it. And look, especially I think on the men's front as well. And I think there's plenty to look forward to. I know there's a lot of, questions, like you don't really know what to expect with this entirely new team, but definitely a lot of things to hold on to for hope and to see where this team can go going into this season. And,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Brian, I just wanted to add, there is some hype going into this season. And, if you look at, say, the mid-major top 25 lists, Brian
Yep.
did receive votes. Just wanted to
Yeah.
put that there.
Yeah, they are receiving votes. So, I mean, listen, there's obviously some sort of momentum going with them right now. It's really, giving them a chance. And obviously, while the America East polls might have them down in it, I think that there is a chance that some of those newcomers on Bryant could really prove some people wrong. So I'm excited to see what guys like Quincy Allen, what, the Keegan Harveys of the world, what all those different guys that Coach Christian has brought in can really do. The Daniel Akues, for example, as well. So I'm really excited to see what those guys will do. Can't wait to see what they do next week. Next week I think is going to be a real litmus test. There's going to be you can't put all your stock into one game, but I think for Bryant fans, you just want to see what it looks like, and we're going to get a chance to see what it looks like next week. But before we get a chance to do that, we're going to take a quick break, and when we're back, we're going to be joined alongside by head volleyball coach Theresa Garlacy. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to 990 WBOB. Welcome back to 990 WBOB, the Bryant Bulldog Sports Hour. Brian Kostiw and Matthew Carvalho joining you here tonight. We're about to have our first guest of the evening joining us. Before we do that, we just want to thank you for listening to tonight's broadcast, powered by Sprout Co-working. For all your business needs, large or small, visit sproutcoworking.com. And our first guest of the evening is joined to you by the Sprout Co-working phone lines. Now on the Sprout Co-working phone line is head volleyball coach Theresa Garlacy. Coach Garlacy, how you doing tonight?
Brian.
Coach, glad to have you joining us. Obviously, it's a big weekend for you and your program. You guys are celebrating your 50th anniversary as a program here at the school. Just, give us your overall thoughts on just, what the history of this program has meant to you and just, getting the chance to have this weekend.
I think we've had so many great teams, so many great women compete for Bryant in the volleyball program, even though it's in the middle of a really busy weekend. For us, for the current team, we wanted to recognize the legacy that this program has become and honor those people who set the foundation for it.
Absolutely. I know you guys have some, really, you guys have a bunch of alumni coming back. I know that you talked about some previous coaches, different players coming back. Just talk about, all the different people you guys have coming back to support you this weekend.
First of all, we have Lorraine Hudak, who started the program at Bryant. She's in the Hall of Fame for Bryant. She was an athletic director, as well as the softball and tennis coach, as well as the head volleyball coach.
Wow.
So she kind of laid the groundwork. And she actually came to see us play at Duke this year because she lives down in North Carolina, and came and addressed the team and watched us play. And she's still coaching club volleyball for the 12-year-olds.
That's awesome. That's amazing to hear. Obviously that's going to be great to have them this weekend. You guys had some great competition this weekend as well with UNH and UMBC coming to town. For you and your team, when looking at this year's team, you guys are coming off, the tough loss up at Ugolini, but you guys are looking to, turn things around this weekend. Just talk about, what is the mindset of the team, after kind of falling in a game like that? Is there any change to, the overall mindset, things like that going to the next week, or how do you guys approach that?
Couple of little things we need to improve on, and that showed us in the match. But honestly, we played a great match.
Yeah.
It was a really fun match. Offensively, we did exactly what we wanted to do. We ran our middles and right sides a lot, the most we've done all season. We had the highest dig totals for everybody individually on the team, and as a team, we had the highest dig totals of the season. We made a couple of errors at tough moments. But I think in the third set, we let off the gas a little bit and it came back to bite us. And honestly, it was just a dogfight, legitimate, Great Dane versus the Bulldogs. It was legitimately a dogfight, and they were scrappy and gritty as hell. And they fought back, and they had a couple people that just refused to let the ball hit the floor. And sometimes, my fist was halfway up and I was like, oh, that's not scoring. So it was a battle, and I think, we're going to be happy to be back at home, having all these alumni in the gym, the history of the program there to be behind us and push us, I think is really going to be a big advantage for us.
Yeah, obviously the program's celebrating a big milestone, but you are as well. This is your 30th season with the program. Having the chance to, be a part of, this program and really help shape it in your own right. Just, how proud are, you of just seeing what these, players and these girls have really done over these years and really helped build this thing?
We've been to 12 NCAA tournaments. That's the goal this year, is to go back. I think this team is a legacy team, and I think it can go back to the NCAA tournament. You got to keep gritting it out day to day, and being honest with yourself about, and they were very honest in the locker room about what we need to work on to improve this weekend.
Yeah.
Our conference is tight. So if you have a weakness, somebody's going to exploit it. You got to work on it, improve it. And we actually, like I said, improved a lot of the things we wanted to improve on. We did. But we just had a few too many unforced hitting errors.
Sure. Staying with the positives of the team this year, one of them obviously has been Arianna Ugolini. She's been really making her case to be, conference player of the year. She leads the league in kills and aces. Obviously she was part of that tandem last year with Aubrey Lepore on the outside and really made a name for herself there. But, this year having the chance to really emerge as that number one option, she's been, absolutely fantastic. Just what have you been really impressed with her this year taking that leap?
I think it's the preparation, the pregame. She's become a very complete player, and she takes her pregame preparation very seriously. Everything from sleep to nutrition. When we're on the road, she's in the fitness center or some space she can find at the hotel, doing some yoga, stretching, loosening up her hips. She is completely dedicated to playing at the championship level, and she's really shown that for us with her leadership on the court. Offensively, defensively, her serve receive. She is the total package. And I really think she can challenge for player of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. And then when you look as well as just this overall team, it's a completely, I mean, not completely, but it's a noticeably different unit than last year. You have, a number of freshmen really contributing to this role, including Caitlin Curran. When you look at some of those, new contributors or players stepping up, what's really just impressed you with, this group this year?
Couple of things, Brian. I think that with the freshmen, they bring a good sense of calmness and consistency to the court. And I think that's very, very important. You need to have that same level of emotion on the court. And one of the special things about this group is that I don't care if you're a freshman, a senior, or junior, the people that are in the same positions are really supporting each other on timeouts, in practice, working on the side court together. They're battling for position, but they're bringing each other up at the same point, and they're making each other better. And that's a really hard thing to do in today's day and age. So when you have limited playing time in games, these girls are just battling it out every day in practice and being fully supportive of each other, which is really cool.
Yeah. Someone else who has really, really impressed me with their, rise this year has been Claudia Camacho-Castro. We obviously saw the promise that she had as a freshman coming in, getting the chance to play with her sister, but, had, different, positives, some struggles here and there. But this year she's really taken a leap. She's second in the America East in aces and has really been a dynamic force alongside with Karina Barron. Just what has really impressed you with that jump that she's taken in her second year?
Her and Karina were competing for the same position. I hit two great liberos. That's a great problem to have,
Yeah.
until it isn't. So I think that Claudia has really embraced her role and enhanced her role, and that's important. She's gone from a serving specialist to a three rotation defensive specialist. Her and Karina make each other better, and they were really, really good yesterday on the court together. Karina had like 20 digs, and Claudia had 13 or 14, and they're working together for the coverage. And they're showing me clips of film that they circle. She circled clips of film where the ball's dropped on the coverage and how we can make adjustments to that. And they're really working together well and competing at the same time. And I think that's pretty amazing. And serve receive wise, Clow has been so consistent in her serve receive, which is really one of the reasons our middles got so many attacks yesterday.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Sometimes with some programs, you might see some players where they're in competition and maybe they're kind of opposed and maybe going at one another in, a negative way. But in this sense, it's really, driving each other to be better. And there's really a good sense of camaraderie with them. For you as a coach, just how satisfying is that when they're able to really work together and both really improve off of that?
It's very satisfying. I mean, let me tell you, in August, it wasn't so satisfying because they were going at each other pretty good,
Yeah.
as they should, as they
Yeah.
should, you know. the competition is what it's all about. But in the end, they both are doing what's best for the team. And especially Claudia has really embraced her role and she's excelling at it. And that's only going to help to improve her, to encourage her to have more of an increased role down the road.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, obviously we talked about it earlier in the season, the major change of having Madison go to that 5-1, and she's really excelled in that role, is really taken over as, a premier setter in the conference. Having the chance to have her really establish that throughout this season, just what is really, give me your thoughts on just on that in general.
Well, her leadership. Madison's a great leader.
Yeah.
She's calm, but she's also intense. She's a very smart setter. She knows what plays to run, what combination. She sees the court well. And having her out there just gives us a lot of consistency. When you have two different setters playing, the tempo is different. The height, the speed, the location of the set, they can be a little bit different, and it sometimes throws hitters off a little bit. And they're not sure what step to be on and their approaches. And I think it just keeps it very consistent. And she stays in the flow of the game. It's tough when you come out for 3 rotations to really get the vibe and the flow of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Coach, we wish you and your team the best of luck this upcoming weekend, and also celebrating the 50th anniversary of Bryant Volleyball. We really appreciate you taking the time, and we'll talk to you soon.
Of course, I hope everybody gets out to support us on Friday night. I know it's soccer's home senior night, but it's gonna be cold out. Be in the gym; it'll be nice and warm.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun Halloween night. Make sure to pack the chase. We'll talk to you soon, Coach.
Absolutely. Thanks, Brian.
All right, take care, Coach. All right,
Bye-bye.
that was Coach Theresa Garlacy joining us on the program. Matt, we're going to be heading off to commercial in just a second, but obviously, first of all, wanted to thank Coach Garlacy for joining us. And, Coach Garlacy, she is not going to be afraid to ever shy away from her expectations with this team. She has those NCAA aspirations for them. Really excited to see what they can do. I think that, with the, overall veteran leadership, but then they have those dynamic freshmen that are coming in, and, Ted and Theresa have done a great job of recruiting, great, freshmen and getting those players in since going to the America East. And it's really exciting to see that pay dividends for them. Can't wait to see what they do on this weekend against New Hampshire and UMBC, but we'll make sure to give you the latest on that next episode. But we're going to head off to commercial real quick. When we're back, we're going to be joined alongside by head football coach Chris Merritt. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to 990 WBOB. All right, welcome back to 990 WBOB. You're listening to the Bryant Bulldog Sports Hour. Brian Kostiw and Matthew Carvalho joining you here tonight. We're about to welcome on our next guest of the evening, but before we do, we just want to say that tonight's guest is brought to you on behalf of the Sprout Co-working phone lines. For all your co-working needs, large or small, visit sproutcoworking.com. Now on the Sprout Co-working phone lines is Bryant head football coach Chris Merritt. Coach, how you doing tonight?
Hey, Brian, how about yourself?
Doing well, Coach. Well, Coach, we'll start tonight just with your opening statements from URI.
Well, URI's hasn't lost a conference game in 2 years. They're a good football team. We knew that we had to control the ball, not turn the football over, limit the big plays to have an opportunity to be there at the end of the ball game. And I thought, first half we did exactly that. At the end of the game, we held the ball twice as long, had twice as many first downs, as well as converted on third down, but turning the ball over and giving up explosive plays in the end is what did us in. No time to cry about it. We have to dust ourselves off and get ready for the next team that's coming in, who's also ranked in the top 10. So, we've got our work cut out for us.
Absolutely. I know you guys are looking forward to that game against Monmouth. When you talk about explosive plays, you guys had some on your side of the ball as well, namely from Elijah Elliott, who had 167 all-purpose yards. He also had that great, pass play, which just, seemed like no one could touch him for a period of time on that big play down the field. When you talk about, Elijah, obviously there's going to be a lot of focus on what he can do on the ground, but this week we really saw what he could do affecting the game through the air. I know he's had some success in that area beforehand, but when you just look at him as being a complete player, just, how much does that really help shape your guys' offense?
Well, he's a very valuable piece in our offense. I think that he's a great matchup on linebackers when it comes to running routes out of the backfield. He's a very effective runner. He's our best player in offense right now. And, we're going to continue to try to find ways by running Jaden Kiefner in different ways as well, because that takes some of the spotlight off of Elijah, because defenses now have to account for them both. And I think that's, we're in a spot offensively where we're going to have to control the clock. And his ability to make the big plays. We talk, not to talk too much about the analytics, but we focus on three things as a football team. We focus on turnovers, we focus on explosives, and we focus on missed tackles. We feel that if we win the missed tackle battle, meaning that we make our opponents miss more tackles than they make us miss, as well as win the turnover battle and win the explosive battle, that we're living in the world of winning football. And Elijah had 5 on his one on that one play you're referring to. He had 5 forced 5 missed tackles.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
Yeah, unbelievable play there from him. You talk about coupling that with Jaden Kiefner. I think that, you talk about him as the runner, and we saw him, last week have over 60 yards on the ground, but he also had a career high 196 passing yards, and, threw a touchdown pass for the second straight week. From your perspective, what have you really liked in the development of Jaden Kiefner, the passer, these past couple weeks?
Sure. Well, his clock in his head is getting quicker and quicker each week, and that's coming through experience. It's coming through taking reps in practice, and then obviously the game reps are invaluable. So his clock in his head is getting quicker, which he knows he's either got to tuck it and run, or he's got to get that ball out of his hands. And he's not taking sacks because of it. There were a couple more, the sacks that he took this last weekend were more so on protection than they were on Jaden. But he's getting better with it. Plus, we're finding out what he can and can't do too. You have to remember that he was our third string quarterback coming out of camp, so we didn't get a ton of opportunity to run him through a ton of repetitions to find out exactly what he could and couldn't do. And but we're finding that out now and kind of tailoring our offense around his strengths.
Absolutely. On the defensive side, Tunde Amparu had a great game for you guys with, his third pick of the year and forcing a fumble early on. I know we've had a chance to talk about, some other members of the defense like Perkins and Rice, and then even in the, with the defensive backs, we've talked about with Juicy and what they've been able to do. But when you look at Tunde, just, how impressed have you been with his performance this season, and then also looking back to last game?
Sure. I can even go as far back as Tunde's career. He's a kid who came here from England. He's progressively gotten better and better every single year. Last year, I think he did log more snaps than anybody else for us on defense. And this year, he's been a very steady football player for us. And Saturday, it was a tough week for Tunde. Tunde's attended the funeral of his mother on Saturday of last week, and came back and played his best game of the season this last Saturday. So, I was happy for him. He's such a good kid. Was happy for him to see him have that type of success. Just opening up the ball game with getting beaten, but not giving up on the play. The receiver opened up the ball game for Rhode Island, caught the long post that he lost his leverage on, but he turned right around and stripped the ball from the receiver to allow us to jump out with a 13-play drive for a touchdown to open up the game that kind of gave us some momentum. So, and on top of that, with the interception that he had in the end zone at the 1-yard line, is big. Big. If we're going to win ball games, these players like that are going to have to make plays like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And, obviously all of us at 990 WBOB send our condolences to Tunde's family during that time. As we, move on with the segment though, you guys, showed showed that promise very early on in the game, getting out to a lead before the half. And then obviously you or I went on the run later on in the game. for you guys, there's, seems to be that path there to playing, really good football in these games and sticking in it. Just in your mind, what would be the keys to maybe playing 4 complete quarters of football and really keeping that momentum you guys have, early going?
Sure. We've struggled in the second half. Normally we're a second half football team. We started off the season playing very strong in the second half. The last couple of games, we've struggled a little bit in the second half. And whether it's, our younger guys that when they get in, to be able to spell some of more experienced players, whether it's their conditioning, whether it's the mental strain that we have to continue to do. At the end of the day, though, Brian, it comes down to executing what we feel is fundamental football, and that's protecting the football. The final score, in my opinion, doesn't reflect the difference between the teams. We gave up 14 points late in the ball game, a pick six. When you look at the way the game got away from us when we were toe to toe, unfortunately, we're giving up too many explosive plays on defense where they're not beating us one-on-one. They're catching wide open passes because of our communication, our lack of communication, and then we're also throwing them the football and they're scoring touchdowns. Yeah, eliminating those second half mistakes. Long-winded answer to your question. We have to eliminate those second half mistakes, and that's what's going to keep us in the ball game and have us have the opportunity to compete there at the end.
Absolutely. And Coach, obviously, as you look ahead to this weekend, you get Family and Friends weekend at Bryant University. You're going to have a great crowd out in support for you guys. Just how excited are you to have, these parents, this group behind you guys this weekend?
Always love playing at home, man. The bus trips are the shortest, and getting our crowd behind us, especially, we're welcoming a team that's ranked in the top 15 in the country right here. We've got an opportunity to play a Monmouth team that's hasn't lost a conference game this year. Now their quarterback is injured and he's out as well. So hopefully our guys and our fans smell, this is the Northeast, right? This is Jaws territory. So hopefully we smell a little bit of blood in the water and we can take advantage of it, but we're going to need everybody.
Absolutely, Coach. We look forward to it, and we wish you guys the best of luck this weekend. Thank you again for joining us tonight, Coach.
Thanks, Brian.
All right. Well, we'll be back in just a couple minutes. When we are back, we're going to be joined alongside by head cross-country coach Maggie Fox. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to 990 WBOB. Welcome back to the Bryant Bulldog Sports Hour here on 990 WBOB. Brian Kostiw, Matthew Carvalho joining you here on this Monday night. We're gearing up for our final segment of the night. But before we do that, we just want to tell you to join the WBOB team this fall, watching your Bryant Bulldogs at the Chase Athletic Center for men's and women's basketball. Single game tickets are now on sale at BryantTickets.com. For more on the Bulldogs, listen to the Bryant Bulldogs Sports Hour, which you're listening to right here on 990 WBOB. Now on the program for our final guest of the night is head cross country coach Maggie Fox. Coach, how you doing tonight?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, Coach. Well, first things first, you guys have the America East Championships coming up this Friday on Halloween at the Hopkinton State Fairgrounds. It's going to be an exciting race for you and your program. It's really exciting. Just to kind of preview things first off, we'll start on the women's side. I know going into the season, you guys were predicted to be you guys were picked second in the league preseason poll. It's going to be an exciting group with all conference honorees Chloe Whiting and Jasmine Trott trying to repeat and get back into that top 3 setting again. Just give me your overall thoughts on them this season with what they've really been able to do.
Yeah, I think coming off of last spring, the two of them really just committed to some big mileage. They ran over 80 miles a week, 3 weeks in a row, and so that's more than most of our men. It's a lot of time running, and so they really just have kind of thrown everything in, and just we're gonna see what's happening. I think also they've been really inspiring to the rest of the women on the team because everyone's just been working just as hard, and cross country is not an individual sport, and you can have two really fast girls and still not do it. So I think everyone has stepped up and they're all kind of going all in.
Yeah, it's really been really inspiring to see what those two have done together. I know, obviously, with the entire team, but when you followed the story of those two girls, where it's been, Jasmine has had, a really consistent career, throughout her time at Bryant, and then Chloe last season we got to see, especially it started in that indoor season in 24-25, and then continued into the spring where she really kind of came into her own, and then going back into this fall, they've been just as excellent. Just how rewarding is it when those players are pushing each other and really getting the best out of one another?
Oh, it's great. It's fun. I always say it's really great to travel with them too, because we've gotten to go all over the country to some bigger meets, and they get to eat healthy with me and go on runs, and so they're great to hang out with. They're great to train, and they're really pushing each other and bringing everyone else along.
Yeah. And then when you look at the overall women's team in general, you guys haven't even had a chance to, race your top 7 this year. It's kind of remarkable that that's happened throughout the season. You guys are going to have a chance to race them this weekend. Just how excited are you to really see them all get at it at the, conference championships?
Yeah. So the way that we structured our season this year, there were a lot of instances where the two of them in particular would do workouts in races. So they haven't really raced all out with the rest of our top 7. So everyone has been able to see what they could do individually, but it'll be really special to see when everyone comes together what that ends up looking like.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, after seeing the results for those two last year and then, just seeing how it all came together last year, it's going to be really exciting on the women's side. And then when you look at the men's side as well, it's really interesting this year. We talk about the tandem of, Chloe and Jasmine. We have a similar kind of situation with Andrew McConnell and Aiden Massey, both hailing from Norton, and getting the chance to, train with each other throughout the summer and, pushing one another. Just for yourself on that side, just how great have those two been working together?
It's been great. The last couple years we've had Slaney kind of running by himself in workouts.
Yeah.
So to have a pack of guys that are all training and working hard together has been awesome. The two of them are kind of spearheading that with the higher mileage, whether they want it or not. And it's been great, especially because you look at the women, and there's only 2 underclassmen on our conference squad, and there's 5 guys that are underclassmen on our conference squad. So it's a much younger team, and they're all just like constantly impressing me. And
Yeah.
I think we're gonna surprise some people.
Yeah, I know before the show we talked about it as well, and Justin Schifrin is going to be, someone else to watch out for this weekend. I know, this past summer he dealt with some injury issues and was really trying to work his way back this fall. I know there was kind of some questions as to what he was going to be, and he's really been, fantastic throughout this season. Just talk about the resilience you've seen from him being able to recover from that setback and really have success this year.
Yeah, he basically didn't have any miles coming into the season, so
Oh.
didn't have a summer at all, and a lot of walking,
Yeah.
this summer. So to go from 0 to where we are now on very low mileage is just a testament to him. He's dedicated many hours on a bike to supplement. So he's been doing 6 hours a week on the bike since we
Wow.
got back to school. And that's not fun. So
No, that is not fun.
no, but it's exciting, and he's we had really big goals for his senior year, but we had to pivot a little bit, and I think neither one of us expected to get back to the level that he's at right now. So it'll be really exciting to see what he can do at conference.
Yeah, absolutely. And then when you look at the production that you've seen from freshman Jack Moyer this year, I know he was an America East Rookie of the Week earlier in the season, and he's made some solid progressions for you guys. Just for someone like him coming out of high school, and really getting thrown into this college gauntlet, how impressed have you been with his development throughout this year?
It's been great. So his older cousin was also on the team, Pat, and he had an extra season of eligibility. So they never got to run together in high school. And so it's really special that they were able to do that in college. And Jack's just been a really great personality on the team and level of commitment. But he's also one of those guys that's rounding out that pack so that there's more guys doing workouts together, which is awesome.
Yeah, it's really awesome to hear. And then, the guys in general, and it's a great grouping of them, and they're always there's great camaraderie with those guys. And I know that they're probably really excited for this weekend. Just for you, just getting the chance to see what they've been able to accomplish this year and really grow and mature throughout this season. Just how excited are you to see it? Have the chance to pay off this weekend.
Yeah, I think for the men, it's really just potential. We have so much potential on the team right now. And so we're just going to go out there and everyone's going to run their hardest and see what happens. And yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, to kind of, cap things off with, Chloe and Jasmine, I know that there are some races going on after this, with the NCAAs and everything with that. But, having the chance to coach them and be a part of this for, the past 3 years, just talk about what it's been like. You talked about it earlier with that relationship you've had with them, but just getting the chance to be a part of, seeing where they've come from in their development, just kind of reflect on that for a moment.
Yeah, I mean, I've spent an awful lot of time with them when their seasons go longer than some of the others and staying at school into the summer. So we've gotten to do some big things, some big trips. We call them business trips.
Yep.
And we try and accomplish the goals, and it's been really great. I have to say they're just the best role models, and they're trying to move our team culture in a direction of more competitiveness and seriousness in this sport. And they're not the only ones doing it.
No.
We got a bunch of upperclassmen. I've just been really impressed, and I think there's a lot of women that are going to do some surprising things.
Yeah, they're absolutely fantastic. I know getting the chance to, cover Chloe and Jasmine during their run at the NCAAs last year, and then going to, see Jasmine compete in the European Athletics U23s. It was great to see what they were able to accomplish that last season. I can't wait to see what they, accomplished this Friday at the championships, and then, on the track this winter and spring. It's going to be really exciting. And Coach, we really appreciate you taking the time tonight.
Great. Thank you so much for having me. This was fun.
Right. Absolutely. Take care, Coach. All right, Matt. Well, we're going to end the show here. But before we do that, just wanted to thank Coach Fox for coming on the program, as well as all our guests for looking into all the episodes of these. You can find them on our podcast page at Down to the Wire or at BryantBulldogs.com, as well as 990WBOB.com. Matt, thank you so much. We'll be back next week. You're listening to the Bryant Bulldog Sports Hour.